Hi, it's Tootie Tagerly coming to you live from San Francisco, the west coast of the United States, noon on a Tuesday. So, today we are going to talk about the benefits of quitting and using a surf parable. Because I work with a lot of high achievers, and I'm a high achiever too. And so many of us, we have a very familiar pattern of grind, keep going, keep working, double down, make it harder, keep going. We can persevere through it. And that's not always the best way. For the purposes of breaking patterns, trying something different, I'm going to talk about the benefits of quitting and trying a different way. Um so I was surfing this morning. I live in San Francisco and the closest break to me is Ocean Beach, which is certifiably one of the most gnarly breaks in the world. There's no reef, but there's great white sharks, there's giant size waves and sets, and it can take a good, you know, 30, 45 minutes just to paddle out to the lineup, which is past where the waves are breaking. There's no areas to like protect you from the waves, so it just keeps coming and coming and coming. So it's a very long paddle out. And Ocean Beach has been my nemesis for a long, long time because I love surfing there. It's like if I can surf there, I can surf anywhere, and I am such an expert. And it's also like this albatross because I'm like, man, I am going to conquer this fucking break. So for many years, I would go out and paddle, paddle, paddle. And I surf with a whole bunch of a crew who is younger than me and physically stronger than me. Most of the time, they can make it out, and I'm often the one that can't. And I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm not going to make it out. But this morning, I actually did something different for the first time. I was surfing solo. It was about 8 feet, which it means a wave is 8 feet. I'm 5'2", so the wave would be that much bigger than me. Out at Ocean Beach, and normally without fear, well, with a lot of fear, but without hesitation, I would just charge right in and go and be like, yeah, I can hang, I can do this, I can push forward. But this morning was different. I actually looked out at the break and was like, I might be able to make it out, but probably won't have fun. Um, it's gonna be brutal. And once I get it out, once I get out to the break, I'm looking around at the parking lot, and everyone around me has a big wave gun. It's like a giant board because you need a really big board to catch big waves. And my board's not big enough, but I needed a board that's small enough that I can control and like duck under the waves. So for the first time, I was like, this is not gonna be fun. I think I am not gonna do it. And man, it felt weird. It felt like quitting. It felt like, what's wrong with you? You've got to persevere through and paddle out at Ocean Beach. But no, I made a different choice this morning and I went and paddled out at a nice little mellow beginner's break and had a blast. So lessons of quitting. The first one is examine your past patterns on continuing versus quitting. Look at how you've tended to act in the past and consider, do you want to keep acting that way or do you want to try something different? So, for example, if you are, say, a multi time startup founder or co founder, and let's say you've had a lot of failures because startups fail, consider if you look back at, or if you've hopped jobs a lot, look back at your past jobs and be like, well, am I the type of person who's going to persevere and fight through this? And have I done this at all of my past jobs? Have I stayed at my past 5 jobs longer than I should have? Or did I keep investing in that startup, more resources, more pivots for longer than I should have? Just take a look and see what your past patterns are. Most high achievers have a propensity towards continuing, fighting through, continuing to go. See if that makes sense for you. And then consider if you've always been the person who's going to continue and persevere through, maybe quitting is an experiment, is a way to try something different. All right. So, first, you examine your past patterns. And then, two, when should you quit? It's really hard, right? Because you think, well, if I just push through a little more, couple more months. I can do this. Something is going to change and I'm going to win, whatever win means. But I think the one important energetic thing to feel about is, how are you feeling when you're going through this process? Is it still energizing? Are you still invigorated to go to work another day, to work with different people, to try different projects? Is there enough passion there? Or has it become really, really draining? Is every single day a drag? Do you dread going to work or going through this? Um, so as an example, startups will pivot a lot when in trying to get to product market fit. You had a first hypothesis, this product was going to do this certain thing for these certain people. And then once you start testing it and putting it out in the market, well, there's no resonance. Not enough people are getting excited about it. The thing with product market fit is like, if you're not getting a lot, if it's kind of a meh, that's actually a fail. When you hit lightning, because there's just a feeling, there's like a virality, when you've hit product market fit. Anything else is kind of, not there yet. So you try to pivot. You try to move a little bit. You try to change some variables. You try to move from B to C to B to B, whatever that is, and you pivot. And you try something else and you pivot. And you try something else and you pivot. So the question to ask yourself if it's time to quit is, with each pivot, is it still exciting? Are you still energized? Are you still passionate about the company, the people, the products, the problems, the purpose, whatever that is? Or you're starting to get really exhausted? If you're starting to get exhausted, maybe it's time to quit. I'll give you another example, because one of the things that I suffer from personally, and I know many, many managers and leaders do this, is that you have a problem employee. And man, you're a good manager, so you really believe in them. You want to invest in them. You want to put time and energy into them. If you just coach them a little bit more, they're going to turn it around, because, they have some brilliance in them. Yet this person's taking up a lot of your time. This person's draining a lot of your time, taking time away from your top superstar performers. So many of us, when we truly know that it's time to terminate or fire an employee, we hold on too long. We hold on too long because we're empathetic. We're human. We want to see them succeed. We have maybe a little bit of a savior complex, that we can be the ones to help support them to be better. And yet there can be a time where you're completely drained, where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go in the office because talking with them is going to suck up so much time. Talking with HR about the performance plan, this is just going to be so much time. So that would be a time to think about, well, is it time to quit? Is it time to pull the trigger and fire them? Okay, we spent a long time on point number 2. We're going to keep going. This one's going to be fast. Quit when you actually look at the data. You look back and be like, how much time have I invested in pivot? Has it been years or decades of my life? Maybe that's too long. If it's been like contained within a couple of months, maybe that's okay to keep going. When you're looking at your problem employee that you're trying to decide, do I keep investing in them or do I fire them? You really don't want this to be going on for more than 6 months. 3 months would be better. There, I'm giving you a rule of thumb, because it's hard. You've invested a lot of time and energy into this company, into this job, into this person. You don't want to walk away from it, but you can. It can be a fresh slate, and there can always be time to quit. All right. We talked about patterns, looking at your past patterns. What if quitting just sounds terrible to you? Maybe you've had some stories from your past. Maybe your parents were like, you can't quit this sport. You're not a quitter. I don't want any quitters in my family. But if you want to learn and grow and be a better leader, maybe you should try breaking some patterns and try something different, simply for the sake of experimentation. Right now, a popular use case is that there is a ton of people who have just been laid off. What's your normal pattern when you lose a job? For many people, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to go. I fix it and make it better immediately. Got to dust out my resume. I got to start networking with people. I got to run on this train because time is running out and I have to get a job right now. And some of this is super real, right? Because, hey, you're afraid. You're not going to get a job. You might lose your house. What's going to happen with your kids? How are you going to keep these expenses going, especially if you live in a high cost area? But also notice that this might be a typical pattern of just continuing to run and hustle and go hard. What I've noticed, especially post-COVID, when people have had more time to slow down and reflect, is that when I talk to people about being laid off, there's the group of people that just goes and runs hard to get another job right now. I don't care whatever job, I need a paycheck right now. And there's a group of people who are choosing to quit the quit the grind and take a little bit of time. Could be a couple days, it could be a week, it could be some months. Just take some time to stop, pause, and consider, well, truly, what is the next job that I want? What is the work that's going to really fulfill and sustain me? Do I want to switch fields? Do I want to experiment with something different? Do I have a little safety of a severance package where, maybe I could spend 2 weeks to do it and that's okay? So that would be an example of choosing an alternate path, a quitting path, just to experiment with it. And then finally, it can be really hard to say, I'm going to take a different way and I'm not going to hustle and grind through like I wanted to hustle and grind through that lineup at Ocean Beach. Sometimes quitting feels passive, like I'm choosing to not do, and it's really hard to not do. How about instead you pick something else to embrace? Maybe you choose to invest. Oh God, this is eye rolly, but maybe you choose to invest in you instead. You choose to invest in your transformation. Maybe rather than the next stage of the company, you choose to, or the next like promotion, or the next title, or the next salary goal. Maybe you choose to embrace a learning goal. Maybe you choose to spend the next little period of time to be like, all right, maybe you pick curiosity. Maybe you pick a passion. Maybe you pick essentially a learning goal. How do I learn more about being a better leader rather than how do I make sure that this startup is going to exit in a certain way? So that's an example. Not great examples, but an example. Something that works for me. We'll go back to surfing. I promised a surfing parable is I've tried to be less goal-oriented, which is make it out to the break and have an amazing, set wave of the day. I've tried to instead be finding something else to embrace. Get out because I love being in the water. Get out because I get to get up, and once I'm in the water, the rest of my day is going to be so much better. Get out, and it doesn't really matter if I catch a wave or not. I'm peaceful. I'm getting exercise. I'm chatting and bonding with people around me. So that's not actually quitting when I'm not going out to the biggest, gnarliest, hairiest break and punishing my body by being thrown through the waves. Maybe I can choose to just have fun and sit and be mellow out bobbing around. All right. So today we were talking about the benefits of quitting because high achievers tend to go, 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 go. And sometimes if these are your past patterns, just continue grind through it. It's good to choose a different way. And how you might know that it's time to quit is if it's completely draining, if you've invested a lot of time, money, maybe your health, maybe your family, maybe you've invested or wasted a lot of time in this already and you're no longer willing to do more. Or choose to quit just to experiment. Try something different. Maybe you'll like it. And then finally, a strategy is, because it's hard to not do, find something else that you want to embrace instead in the quitting, the learning, the experimentation, the curiosity. Find something else. That's it for today, the benefits of quitting and a surf parable from this morning. I'll see you next week.